AskReddit. Gamers of Reddit, what gaming experience will you never forget and why? The Pyro Mantis fight of Metal Gear Solid. Snake, plug your controller into the second controller port. Nowadays, such a thing would be considered trite or a cute gimmick at best, but for the time period when it came out, 1998, and the first time I played it, I was probably about 10 or 12 at the time. It was mind-blowing. For people who don't know what I'm talking about, in the first Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation, and later ported to GameCube, there's a boss you end up fighting called Pyro Mantis. He claims to be a true psychic and proves it to you by saying things like "I'll make your controller move through sheer force of will and then causing it to vibrate." He comments on other games you've played, reading your memory card, makes you think he's turned off the game by doing the default input screen, and even avoids all of your attacks until an ally calls and tells you to plug your controller into the second controller port. It was amazing. The end of Portal 2, in particular the final portal you shoot. I'd waited until I finished my exams to play it, then basically stayed up all night to finish it. What an ending that was. Sadly, of course, it turned out to be the ending of the whole Half-Life Portal universe. Very sad face. Learning the big secret of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic about your main character for the first time. I didn't complete the game until way after it was released. I was really young when it came out and didn't even know what Star Wars was, but I never saw anything about it since it seemed like a forgotten game. I have to say, when the big reveal happened, I was shocked and excited. When I grew up, we always had that sort of shitty computer which wasn't all bad, but installing a game was always kind of a jeopardy. It just might not work. So back in 2005, World of Warcraft had finally gotten traction and the news had begun reporting about the online sensation. People were discussing how big it actually were and the possibilities it offered. So at Christmas, I finally got it. I was overjoyed and couldn't wait to get home and plug it in. For those who doesn't remember, it had 5 or 6 discs, which meant 5 or 6 chances of something fucking up for my PC. As far as I remember, it took about 8 hours to install with me constantly leaping in the check on it and change CDs. But then, just around dinner time, it finally finished and the old screen of the giant portal appeared. The next year or so would be completely dedicated to that game. But I'll never forget that certain kind of curiosity and wonder that WoW brought me on that first encounter. When I was around 4, I was playing Mario Kart on the SNES with my older brother who was around 7 years old. I was falling behind and he refused to wait for me to catch up. I got angry and bit him. I know it's weird, but it's just stuck in my memory. That was the first and last time I bit someone, and it was over a video game. BioShock is damn near perfect. It captures the mood and ambience to a degree that is nearly unparalleled. More so if you have surround sound. The story is just mind-blowing and perfect. Infinite did a great job too. Perfect RE companion a 180 from GoldenEye. I felt so sad at the end though. The team that made Infinite did such a good job. The ending was so emotional and brought everything together. BioShock is a series that everyone that loves a game with a good story should play. The first, and only, time I beat another human in a game of StarCraft I won Vault 1, because I realized, hey, I outplayed this guy. I didn't have teammates who could carry or feed and neither did he, I just played better than him overall, and that's why I won. It felt great to know that I beat someone because I played the game better than them on an individual level, without having to factor anybody else into the equation. I mean, who the hell scans, sees that I have a bunch of tanks sieged up on the high ground with other units supporting them, and then tries to push up the ramp anyway, and then, a few games after that, I placed in bronze III. Last mission of Halo 3. Where the floor is collapsing and you're on the Warthog. I'll remember the feeling I had playing it for the first time with my friend in like 3rd grade forever. Such a epic mission. Killing Parthenax. I still feel bad about it years later, beating Halo 3 on Legendary with my brother split screen on a small TV in our room. It took us weeks to get to the last level and then it took us hours to get past the part where you drive the Warthog to the ship where the ground keeps falling down. It was one of the best moments I've felt after beating a game. Killing my dog in Minecraft, I misclicked with a bone. Trying to tame it, I'd accidentally hit it and I had to end its life. Modern Warfare 2 was my introduction into online games. I had to beg my grandparents to get Wi-Fi for the house so I could play with my friends. One school night it's like 3 in the morning and I'm playing Search and Destroy with my friends. We get put into a lobby with a whole clan and they start talking ungodly amounts of shit. Here I am in my undies, middle of the night and yelling all kinds of shit back at them. I just remember us winning and us rubbing it in the noses while we watch as they all leave the lobby one by one. The quest in Fallout New Vegas where you have to find out who killed Boone's wife amongst the friendly townspeople. It was the perfect marriage of gameplay, well-written dialogue, killer pacing, top-notch characterization, gut-wrenching decision-making, all with a demon dark tone. This showed me the potential video games had in telling interactive stories with dire consequences, and this particular moment stood out amongst so many others in this incredible game. Getting my first, and only, Nuke on MW2 multiplayer. I was in 5th grade at the time and I made this whole plan with where to camp, run around Dad to keep myself as safe as possible, along with using the heartbeat sensor to know when people were coming after me. I essentially sat at the enemy spawn for the entire match of domination, and when I ran out of ammo in my primary gun there was only 30 seconds left in the match, so I ran out into the middle of the map. I started getting shot when I turned a corner and ran straight at the guy and knifed him. I immediately died after, but that one last kill was all I needed as I got the nuke and called it in. Gonna name 3 here because of how memorable they were to me. 1. The ending of Red Dead Redemption 1. The first time I saw it I was so ready to see John Marston live a happy life with his family, only to see it ripped apart in the matter of minutes. Amazing. 2. Killing Ganondorf in The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. I'm a huge Zelda fan and this ending was the best in the whole franchise. 3. The Warthog Run in Halo 3. I remember playing this for the first time with my brother. It was so exhilarating and I kept thinking that Chief and Arbiter weren't gonna make it. An amazing ending to the best 3-game trilogy ever. I would say the days me and my friends played through the entirety of Borderlands 2. I honestly would never play through the game alone, as it isn't really my type of game. But honestly, probably some of the best memories I have gaming is me finding a huge rock, climbing on top of it, and singing the Circle of Life as all 4 of us fought to stay on top of the rock using vehicles. We kept trying and trying to push each other off. It wasn't a memorable moment because of the game, or the setting. It was memorable because it was just plain dumb fun with my friends, and I'll always remember that. Final Fantasy VII blew my mind as a kid. The story is still my favorite of any game. And the soundtrack is just epic. Was completely immersed in it. Played it through in its entirety 3 times. Also, gaming with my brother in college where we lived together for 4 years. We had so many late nights playing on our PS2. Games like Dynasty Warriors 3, Guitar Hero, 007, Twisted Metal Black and Gauntlet. Good times. Gaming has never been the same since we've gotten older. Getting Wrecking Ball achievement in WoW Battlegrounds more than 10 years ago. The achievement requires killing 20 or more players from opponent team without dying once. I finished the match with 0 kills deaths. I am not a good PvP player, I received no healing at all, just went in some sort of trance and dominated the match. I was shaking the whole time and never repeated my success. But apparently I pissed a lot of guys that match because every time I met some of them afterwards, they went out of their way to kill me, ignoring everything else. Skyrim, easy. I was 11, and had been playing linear, fairly boring kids games up until that point. I had really lost interest in gaming as a whole. The amount of choice available to you in that game was mind-blowing to me. Walking into Whiterun the first time I remember being very annoyed by that Talos worshipper guy who never shuts up. I did the logical thing and swung an axe at his head, and was fucking shocked when he actually died. Naturally, many killing rampages followed, but I'll never forget that first time. If you see this JPEG file while looking this video, you have been visited by the helpful employee of Duplication Mountain Dew and Doritos will come to you, but only if you comment copy that on this video. Like and subscribe for more Reddit related videos.